What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Singing the Tea. I'm your host, Dustin, singer, actor Lewis, and you already know, sometimes we sing, sometimes we spill all the reality TV tea, but it's always going to be what you want. It's always going to be what you need. And welcome back, y'all. So we are going to jump into another review of Married to Medicine, Season 11, Episode 12, Calm After the Storm. And baby, that's exactly what it was, because it started off on a storm, and we had to calm it down. We had to calm it down, baby, because y'all was coming in hot, ready to rumble and tumble. And I was here for every part of it, baby. I was here for all of the mess. But before we jump into it, if you are new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, share with a family member, share with a friend. If you are some family returning, I appreciate y'all so much. We want to grow this community so we can do bigger and better things, y'all. But we're going to jump into Married to Medicine episode. You know what? Before we jump into it, because a couple people have asked me about the comments that DrHeavenly has made over the weekend. Listen, I was disappointed by her comments. I'm not going to harp on it too long. I was going to do a video. I'm really not. But long story short, maybe I might. I might do a video. I don't know. But long story short, I'm disappointed in what she said, but it's nothing new. I mean, a lot of people have, and I'm not justifying what she said. I don't agree with what she said, and I think that she did apologize, as she should, because it was messed up. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, go look it up online. I don't even want to go into details about it because, child, we ain't finna mess up this because we over here having us a good time. She can handle that. She need to watch her mouth. She need to learn what she say. Now, y'all know I love DrHeavenly, but she was messed up and she was wrong. Anyway, back to this, what we came here for, what y'all came here for. Let's talk about it. Y'all, listen. King set it off. It started off, when I tell you they picked up right where they left off, with King charging at Dr. Greg, baby, King was charging and he was ready to get into it. I'm going to say this. Thank God the Sheik, whatever the man name is, thank God that he was there in the middle to break them up, because I really think, I don't know if King would have swung, but I will say this. If I was Dr. G in that position and he would have ran up on me like that, I probably would have swung on him. So I think that it could have escalated to be something bigger than what it was, but I don't know. But thank God that they were there to break them up, because I think that King was hot. I think that Dr. G was hot because of what Sweet Tea was going through, and it just was a big situation that did not have to be. I will say this: I'm a little conflicted on how King handled the situation. I think that King was being a protector in the moment. He felt like Quad was disrespected. He felt like he had to stand up and take up for her. I get it. I respect that. But I do think the timing was wrong. I think you should have said it earlier when you and Greg were having that conversation. Forget the other people being there, him trying to show out and all of that. I think you should have said it then. But that's neither here nor there. So as they are getting into it, we see Sweet Tea coming up, and she, instead of her going to Dr. Greg, she goes over to King, and she's like, not my husband. You're not to do this to my husband. And I think that, Sweet Tea, you were adding fuel to the fire. And I think that you should have taken. I understand everybody's heightened, right? Everybody's emotions are on 10. Everybody's upset. But I think that, excuse me. Sorry, y'all. I think that your emotions were on 10. I get where you were coming from, but you could have made that even worse, mama. You should have stayed out of it. And I do want to give Quad some props right here, because instead of Quad bucking up and getting in Sweet Tea face, she was like, hey, go check on your husband. Go check on your husband. I appreciated Quad doing that, because if Quad would have came into it with the same energy that King, Dr. G, and Sweet Tea had, it would have been so much worse than what it was. So I appreciate Quad for being like a little bit more rational in the situation and being like, hey, go check on your dude. So we see everybody, Cecil's coming into it. Everybody's coming into it to like break up the situation. And it was too much, y'all. It was too much with all these black physicians on this sandbar, the only black physician sandbar in America at the time. It was too much at one time. It was a lot going on. But it seems to calm down a little bit. And, King and Quad are having a conversation, because she was like, hey, I don't want you to do that. What's going on? And he was like, what he was saying, when he said that, shut the blank up, he was talking to you. And it's disrespectful. So he not gonna talk to you like that. I'm here now. We not doing that. So King, I give you some points for standing up for your woman. I do think it was maybe a bit unnecessary. Unnecessary is not a good word for it. Maybe it could have been handled differently. Let me say that. I don't think it was unnecessary. I get where you were coming from. I think we could have handled that situation a lot differently. So him and Quad have their convo. Him and her walk off, right? They walk off to go cool off because she didn't want him doing that. She didn't. So we appreciate that. So next we see Mimi having a conversation with Sweet Tea. And Mimi, you said something and I was just like, it was very interesting because I didn't know where you got to this point. So you were saying, girl, don't let them do this. You know, they trying to get between you and Greg's marriage. Don't allow them to do that. Girl, what? Like, I don't understand where that point came from. I don't think that they were trying to get in between their marriage. I think that he was trying to defend his spouse. I don't think, well, yeah, I'll say girlfriend or significant other, however him and Quad are referring to each other. I will say this. I don't think that that comment was warranted me. I wonder if that's going to come up at the reunion because I didn't really understand where that came from. It was a bit much. I understand you trying to calm her down. And then Sweet Tea was like, I don't understand why everybody keep coming at us. The one situation happened, right, where they were drunk. And I don't think that Sweet Tea was as upset with Quad as she was with her partner for how he was speaking to her. And I think that Greg got a little overly upset. So I don't think that they're coming for y'all. It wasn't like they were picking on y'all this season. I think this season y'all had it pretty easy. You two, maybe in the beginning, Heavenly and you had an issue, but as far as you and Quad didn't really have any issues this season. So that was an interesting take. Um, on that perspective. But hey, so as they're having a conversation with her, we see Phaedra, Mimi, and Contessa. You know, they building a prayer closet around Sweet Tea, baby. They got the prayer closet going on. They got the war room over there on the island with all the black physicians in America. They got that going on. Let me tell y'all something. When Toya was walking up, her face was like, Toya, I felt the same way. And then Dr. Damon and Dr. Eugene over there laughing. Because they're like, man, what is going on? Because people is losing their minds, baby. People is acting a plum fool on this island. And let me tell y'all, I'm going to be 100% honest. When I saw the clips online and I watched it, I did not realize that Phaedra was speaking in tongues, y'all. I thought Phaedra was over there speaking Spanish. And I know, y'all don't laugh at me. I grew up in a black church, so I know when people get to speak in tongues. I really thought Phaedra was over there speaking Spanish. I was like, why is she speaking Spanish? What the Spanish got to do with anything? Hola, como está? Because I don't understand what she had going on, baby. She was over there speaking that good Spanish, and baby, I didn't know what was going on. Let me tell y'all something. Don't do nothing like this around me. Don't do nothing. I am childish. I cannot handle people having serious moments. My friends know when it is something serious, I am not the one to bring. You know what's so crazy? Realistically, if it's something serious, I got you. Like, I'm that person. I'm that person that you always want to have around it in all times. But if it's something serious and it ain't got nothing to do with me, baby, don't have me in the room. Don't have me in the room. Because I'm going to tell you now, we all going to be laughing, or y'all going to be jumping me because I'm going to be laughing at y'all. So please, 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 please don't do nothing like this around me. But you can tell that everybody was just like, what is happening? Like, DrJackie over there, because when it comes to stuff like that, DrJackie typically stands out of the way. She's so petite and small, so I can get it. But everybody was just like, yeah, they're over there praying and trying to lift Sweet Tea up because she all in the mix, baby. She over there in her war room. But Simone has some choice words for Phaedra. Listen, I do think. Listen, no, we're not gonna judge nobody because I think that we know that Phaedra is that Southern Belle. She was always cast as that. She has her church. She don't have no church. Lord, I'm engaged to later church. She has her funeral home, and she be praying over the bodies and whatnot. So we know she know what to do. But I do think that it was just interesting. The Lord came to you with your thong on over here on this beach. So that was just funny to me. But Simone was like, listen, the Lord came to you to help Sweet Tea, but he didn't come to you to help your relationship with Phaedra, Shireen, and Shaq. Now, Simone, you was messy for that, but I was here for every bit of it. So, baby, it's so much going on. They have to take separate boats back to the Key West hotel that they had resort because there's so much going on. And Dr. G and Sweet Tea tell Simone that they are leaving. They're like, listen, we are leaving. And Simone's like, okay, she gets it. She understands why they're leaving. I get it too. I don't know if I could still be in that space with them because I think that I will always be in that like ready moment. So I don't know if I would be I don't think I'll be receptive to having a conversation because you know they're gonna want you to have one. I don't think I'll be very receptive of having that. So we get on the boats and they have to take separate boats. So we're gonna talk about it, boat one and boat two. We're gonna talk about the separate boats. So we're gonna call it the King and Quad boat. We're gonna call that one. So we have their boat, and DrJackie is talking to King, and I really like that interaction. And DrJackie was like, "Listen, I just don't want you to get in no trouble. I don't want you to do anything like that." She said, maybe, you and Quad, how many times have y'all done it today? Maybe you need to get up to that 15." That was really funny. I really enjoyed that. And King was like, "Yeah, maybe that's what's going on." But it was really funny to see them kind of like open up and have that conversation. And then we transitioned to Heavenly, Dr. Heavenly and DrContessa having the conversation, which was really nice to see. It was good to see them come together and have that conversation. When I saw them sitting next to each other on the boat, I was like, look at that. It made me happy. But, they had a conversation, and Contessa's like, listen, what's the issue with you and Sweet Tea? Like, what's going on? Because y'all seem to have this rift. And Heaven's like, listen, I don't want to play with the little girl. She likes to get violent. It becomes too much. And I do sometimes wonder if this is a good space for Sweet Tea to be in. I think that Sweet Tea sometimes just take a pause and just think about it a little bit more. I feel like the other ladies, they are ready to fight with their mouths, and Sweet Tea is ready to fight with whatever she needs to fight with, if that makes sense. And neither one is bad. I think that is just an occasion, right? There's a time and a place for both. Necessarily, I don't know if there's a time to put your hands on people, but anyway, y'all know what I'm trying to say. I think that she should take a pause, but I'm with Contessa. Maybe sometimes. No, I'm not. Maybe sometimes, they should give Sweet Tea a little bit of grace because she is going through her stuff with her trying to have a baby, and her emotions are high, and it's a lot going on for her to try to come in and make her place in this group. Child, I'm trying to get laid too much. I ain't really believing this stuff. Anyway, I'm just trying to be nice and try to say what the lady said. I ain't really believing it. But child, whatever. Y'all know how I feel. Whatever, Sweet Tea. So we go to boat number 2. We can call this the Sweet Greg boat. So we got the Sweet Greg, and we got the King Quads, and we got the Sweet Gregs over here, baby. My bad. Just ghetto. So we got the Sweet Greg boat. Now on the Sweet Greg boat, we only got 4 people on this boat, baby. That is it. We got Sweet Tea, we got Dr. Greg, we got Phaedra, and we got Shaq. That's all we got on this boat. Excuse me, y'all. Hold on, let me take a sip of water. Hold on. So we got them on the boat. Now listen. When I tell you Greg was hot, baby, Greg was hot. Baby, Greg was hot. And I think they should have read the room a little bit because that man was not in a good mood. So on the boat, Sweet Tea is talking to Phaedra about the situation, and like she said, all she wanted to do was just ask Shireen, like, "Hey, what was going on?" And Heavenly had an issue, and they just kind of exploded from there. It was so many different like explosive fights going on this island at one time. It was wild, and you can tell that Greg was just not feeling it. He was not feeling it, and when Sweet Tea was like, she can't fight a senior citizen, that was funny as hell. But, Greg was just so pissed. And I wish they would have taken a moment to just take a step back to be like, you know what? Let me go to the other end of the boat and just give him a moment to kind of rest. Or I wish he would have just like walked, just go sit by himself on the other end of the boat because you could tell he was really not in the place. And I wish they would have just read him a little bit more in that. Phaedra and Apollo, they start talking about not Phaedra and Apollo, Phaedra and Shaq start having a conversation about Apollo. And, Shaq doesn't feel like he really owes Apollo anything. I disagree. Phaedra doesn't feel like she owes Apollo anything, and I wholeheartedly disagree as well. I don't understand why Phaedra is so upset about the whole Apollo and Shireen thing. It's really weird. And I really wonder if Phaedra was wanting to make it a story, but production was just like, girl, we done already told these people that you knew. So that part became a little bit odd to me. So I don't really know what's going on. It's weird. It's really, honestly, it's not making sense. So we wake up the next day and we see people having conversations. So we see this scene it was kind of a little throwaway. Now that I think about it, they didn't really go anywhere with this scene when it came to DrContessa and Dr. Mimi having a conversation. Like, Contessa was just telling her, this is not what they normally do. And she was like, I had to lie to her a little bit. But honestly, it's not really what y'all do. Y'all really don't do that a whole lot. But, and that was essentially it. Like, it really didn't go anywhere, or we didn't get anything from that scene. So that was kind of a throwaway. I think we could have did without that scene, to be honest. But then we get to Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Simone having a conversation with Apollo and Shireen. Now, when they were having their conversation, Dr. Heavenly apologizes to them because she did not know that Shek was going to be coming on the trip. I don't think anyone knew that Shek was going to be coming. And she also didn't know that Shek was friends with them, which y'all, I'm telling you, something in the milk ain't clean when it comes to that situation. And we're going to find out what it is. I wonder if Apollo and Shireen came to the reunion. But yeah, it's something about that was real. It's something fishy in that situation, And Apollo said that, he has known Shek, and Shek actually called him and invited him to the strip club the night that all that stuff happened. So, and like I said, they didn't have any issues. So I kind of get that. But it was just weird to me that if you are that close with this man, that you have his number and you are inviting him to come hang out with you, that you wouldn't want to speak to his ex-wife, who was the mother of his children. I think that's a little too close for comfort, because that situation it's too fragile for it to, and not saying that their relationship is fragile, it's too fragile and delicate of a situation for you to interject yourself into it without there being some fallout. It just takes one misunderstanding between like you and her, or you and the kids, or anything like that can just make it a bigger issue. So, dude, I think you should steer clear of that personally. But Phaedra knew what she was doing. I really feel like Phaedra knew that it was going to be like this big thing by inviting Shek and having Apollo and his wife there. I think she kind of knew. Apollo said that he asked to have a one-on-one with her and she wasn't having it. So there's only so much that we can do. And Apollo and Shireen, they let us know that they're going to be hanging out in Miami, but that's the last that we see of them on this episode. So that was it for them. So as they're wrapping up that scene, we transition to DrJackie, and she is heading to Phaedra's room. We see Phaedra packing up with Shek. And Phaedra tells DrJackie that she is leaving. And DrJackie's trying to figure out, what's going on. I think all of us are kind of figuring out why Phaedra is so upset. Maybe they cut out something that we just aren't seeing, but it just doesn't make sense. But Phaedra says that she was disappointed, and she's the most disappointed in DrJackie. And I don't understand why. It does not. I don't get what people like. What do y'all want DrJackie to do? She is a normal person. Yes, she's a doctor. Yes, we look at her as a matriarch of like this show, but she is human, y'all. She's human. She's allowed to make mistakes, and I don't understand what she was wanting DrJackie to do in that moment. You knew that he was coming, and she said, "Hey, you heavily said that you were aware that he was coming. You didn't deny the fact that you didn't know that he was coming. So what was Jackie to do?" It was really weird. Like, I don't understand why people hold Jackie to the standard, and it's the oddest thing to me sometimes, because she is human just like everybody else. We've seen her have moments where it's like, oh, that's not the most savory, right? But I don't get why Phaedra was so upset. Well, she wasn't really upset. She was disappointed in DrJackie because she felt like DrJackie could have supported her, or the group could have supported her a little bit more. And I agree. But also, to Phaedra, it's hard to support you when you told Dr. Heavenly called you and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about inviting Apollo. How do you feel about that?" Or however she asked you. I'm paraphrasing here. You were cool with it. You made it seem like you were cool with it. So what are they to do? What are they to do? You seem like you were cool with it, and you're saying that you didn't feel supported. How, love? Like, it's getting a little confusing, Phaedra. So I'm not getting it. You said that they were playing games, and you're not the one to be played with, and they are mean girls. They have mean moments. I don't think that they're mean girls, but I think this is what it is. I think Phaedra got the phone call that they needed her to go to Real Housewives of Atlanta, and she just had to figure out a good way to get out of this situation, and this was her out. I feel like this was her out because it did not make sense. I would not be shocked if her scenes picking up of Real Housewives of Atlanta is her getting off of that private jet. I wouldn't be surprised, because that's the only thing that makes sense to me. because you being as upset with these women about this man being there that you knew he was going to be there on, it ain't making no sense. So Phaedra's gone, y'all. She gets on her private jet, and her and Sheck, they are back in Atlanta. So everybody, the men and the women, they split, right? They go, the men go to the cigar bar, the ladies go to the rum bar or a brewery or whatever you call it. They go do their thing. So Toya lets us know that Sweet Tea is gone, and Heavenly said that's good that she left. And Simone just kind of lets them know, I didn't tell them to leave. I knew that she was going to be leaving because she stated that the day before. Now, as the ladies are having a rum, they're having a conversation, and Simone is saying, that was the most devastating trip that they've been on, and the most devastating part was King and Dr. Greg, and I agree. We just typically don't see the men going that deep. We've seen Dr. Damon and what is Mariah's husband name? I can't remember. But yes, we've seen them kind of have like a little situation, but it wasn't that deep. But it was pretty bad there, like with that situation. And as the ladies are having a conversation, I'm skipping ahead here and then I'll go back. But the ladies are having a conversation and they're talking about, Phaedra leaving, and Phaedra saying, hey, that she feels like the group is mean girl. She didn't feel supported. She got that from DrJackie. And it's funny. Toy was like, she said that about y'all, not me, right? And she was like, no, all of us. Like, she said that about all of us. So that was very interesting that Toya thought that she was excluded. With Toya, you were kind of the one that was throwing a little shade towards Phaedra earlier on. So I think you and Phaedra aren't like the closest. Phaedra, you really aren't close with anybody in this group, really. I feel like you and Quad were at one point, but towards the end, y'all weren't as close. Excuse me, y'all. I'm just battling a little something, but I'm gonna be all right. So I feel like that was a little bit odd there between that situation, but hey, it is what it is. I think that hopefully, they can figure that situation out. So we see the men, we see the guys going over to the cigar bar. They're having the conversations as well. I would love to go to a cigar bar and roll cigars. I don't really smoke them. We have a cigar bar here. I wonder if you can roll them here. Anyway, this ain't got nothing to do with nothing. But anyway, they're having a conversation and they're kind of broken up into groups. So the first group is Dr. Damon, Dr. Scott, and King. They having their conversation, and Curtis is also with them. And, they're asking about like the men who are missing, and, King is just letting them know, like, he didn't mean any disrespect by the situation. It was just a disrespectful situation. And Damon kind of understood where King was coming from. So hear me out here. I don't think Damon was saying like King being disrespectful, or I don't think Damon would have like done it maybe in that space. But I think that Damon saying like, hey, you saying what you said to my significant other, it would have been a problem. So I can understand where Damon is coming from that. Being that protector, being the head of your family, being the head of your household, you want to make sure you're protecting your family at all costs. So I get where Damon was coming from. I get where King was coming from that standpoint. Once again, I think you could handle it a little differently. Just saying. So then, once they switch, they done smoking cigars and having the cognac, they switch and they go roll them, right? So Steve, Eugene, and Cecil are sitting down, and essentially it's the same thing. They saying that they never experienced a couple strip like this. I really like Steve and Mimi for this group for the most part. I think that they're pretty cool for the most part. I wish we could have gotten more out of them, but I do think that they're cool. I think they're a good, like, even kill. One thing, though, I do wonder is I feel like I look at Jackie and her, I feel like they're so similar. Like, cause she didn't even drink at the rum event. She drinks though. She does drink. Like, I've seen her have champagne and stuff, but she wasn't drinking at the rum event. So it's kind of in the Jackie realm. So it's like, do we kind of need two people in this space? So I don't know. We'll see. So we hold on. Where am I? I gotta move past my load, y'all. Hold on. Toya didn't believe it. All right. Okay. So we see everybody there getting ready to go to the ending event, right? And we see Contessa and Scott, they're having a conversation. We see Contessa and Scott, they're having a conversation, and she brings up Heavenly. She was like, you know what, me and Heavenly have been getting along, and I think it's just been a lot of drama just kind of caused us to just kind of work on they haven't really worked on it. I think they've moved past it. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Contessa, Dr. Contessa, this is what we have been wanting. As the viewers, we have been wanting you to move past this situation because we get it. We understand she said some hurtful things. Trust me, she said some hurtful stuff over this weekend. But we want you to move past it. We want you to move past it. So it's good that we can see that you are able to do that. So that's really, really nice. Toya says she doesn't want to go, child, and I understand, but she ends up going anyway. So as they're on the car ride there, Contessa, Dr. Contessa, Dr. Mimi, Steve, and Dr. Scott are all riding together, and they call Sweet Tea and Dr. Greg. So Dr. Greg gets on the phone, and baby, he is hot. He is explaining his perspective, and from what he is explaining to them, now I'm not saying that I agree. I can understand his perspective as well from what he is saying. Once again, I'm not agreeing with it. I'm not agreeing with anybody in this situation, to be honest. But I can understand his perspective. He felt like, you know what, me and a dude just had a conversation. We were cool about it. Then you want to come over here while it's a heated situation. You want to bring it up again, like take your shirt off and buck your chest up at me. So I get where he's coming from that perspective, y'all. So I think it's good that he did go home. And speaking of him being at home, we see him and Sweet Tea having a glass of water. My bad if y'all hear that. Anyway, golly, I'm recording. So, okay, so back to that. We see them having a conversation, and, about the situation. And Sweet Tea is saying, I just hate that it happened. Dr. Greg is kind of saying the same. He was like, I felt like it would have been a fight to the death. Now, Greg, please. Greg, please. You wouldn't have been no fight to no doggone death. Now, I'm with Sweet Tea with this one. It wouldn't have been all that. It would not have been all that. It was too many people. It was security. Everybody, nobody would have let you get beat to sleep out there on that sandbar. You would not have got beat to sleep, allegedly. I don't know. I don't know if you would have or not. Allegedly, child. I don't know who would have won. I don't know. But yeah, you wouldn't have got beat to sleep. Now, here's my issue with Dr. Greg is when he starts being passive aggressive to Sweet Tea and he starts being disrespectful to her. She didn't deserve that. She was just saying, like, hey, I wouldn't have let that happen to you. Listen, I'm an army. I've been in combat. He was like, you a woman. Like, it was just so disrespectful. Like, it condescending in the way that he spoke to her. Y'all, it was so reminiscent to how he used to talk to Quad. And Sweet Tea, I want more for you. I think that this man is disrespectful. I think that he is showing you who he is. And the fact that he did all of that with the camera still there, you would have thought that he would have learned from the first time. It just shows me he doesn't care. It truly just shows me he does not care. And then when you tell him to stop talking, and then he was like, oh, you're just so naive. You're so sweet. And just being passive aggressive and disrespectful. Like, that was the part that I was just like, yo, like, dude's too much. Like, everything that they're saying about you, allegedly, seems like it is true because of how you are approaching your wife. Like, why are you talking to her like that? That's so not cool. So then when he storms off and she goes behind him, he was like he blamed her about what was going on. And then, he's telling her, don't talk to me like that. Who you think you talking to? I did not like that. I did not like that. And the cameras were rolling, y'all. The cameras were rolling when this situation was going on. So what can we imagine is happening when we're not seeing them? And you remember on her first season, she even said that, some of the stuff that Quad said, she was right. So I don't know. I don't know. I think that Dr. Greg needs some healing that he needs to do as well. Simone brought this up. Greg and Quad both need healing. And I truly feel like he needs to go and see somebody to figure out what's going on there. I truly do. So I'm gonna fast forward. We at the lemon squeeze. It's another lemon squeeze. They're wearing yellow for friendship, and they brought the ugly ass bowl back out that they won. That Quad had hand blown or whatever, handmade or whatever, made with lemonade and stuff. So y'all see when Simone was talking about people having problems, Cecil was like, yeah. When I say Cecil is funny, that was the perfect comedic element that we needed in that moment. But Mimi, when she was had her bowl and she was speaking about the exes being around and possibly not being ready for that, where relationships are no longer serving you. Are you ready to move on? Are you not ready to move on? Have you healed from this? I think that Mimi was dropping some gems. And they kept paying it to Quad, and I feel like Quad might feel like she's healed. I don't think the Quad is fully healed from everything. So I think that Quad should take a beat and just really focus on herself to make sure she's good, because I don't think she truly is. So Toya, DrJackie gets the bowl. And DrJackie even says, you know what, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if I would want my ex around if if that if I was in a situation. I don't know if I would want my partner's ex or my ex and his new partner around me. So I get it. I think that we all can agree that no one would naturally want that. It typically doesn't happen. Maybe some one-offs where you might be in the same space depending on how the relationship ended. But I don't think that realistically you will all just end up in that same space all the time. So I think it's a little too close for comfort for all parties involved, not even for just Quad, for all of them. So when Toya said what she said, you know what, y'all, we do some messed up stuff. There are some things that we can work on. And DrHeavenly apologizes to Quad for bringing Sweet Tea around, because they essentially did that. So I think that it was a messed up situation. I think that Dr. Eugene said some good stuff as well when he was like, hey, we also have to think about Greg's perspective, which you kind of do as well, because I think that they had a friendship with him also. I think Dr. Greg was friends with some of them before he got with Quad, possibly. I don't know. So I can understand them wanting to think about his feelings as well and how his new wife might feel navigating that space also. Just thinking about different perspectives, y'all. I'm just saying, just thinking about them. But yeah, and then Quad states her piece, think about how she feels, which 100% valid, because I don't think that anybody thought, I think that people look at Quad and they sometimes like, she's so strong, she always feels like Miss Quad, she got it. But people don't think about the softer side and like how your emotions might get. Listen, when they was going out, y'all remember a while back they were saying checking your strong friend. Listen, us strong friends out here, we be struggling too now. Like, check on us. So I think that it was a hard situation for Quad to be in, although she stepped into it and had her head held high as much as she could. I think it was still a touchy subject for her. So we got to respect that, where she's coming from. And Quad kind of interrupts in Dr. Eugene, and I already talked about that, but Contessa was talking about when she called Dr. Greg, and he was still on 10. Like, King and Quad are calm, but he was still hot. So I think it's good that he did leave. And I think Steve even was saying, like, sometimes you got to know when to take a step back to figure out, like, listen, I need to take a step back, reconfigure, and figure out what's going on, and then come back into the group. And Dr. Damon is a wise man. He dropped some gems off in there too, saying about them being good people, because I do feel like they are good people. I think all of them are good people. I think it's just an unfortunate situation that they just went through. And I think that they could navigate that space with Sweet Tea possibly, maybe moving forward with Quad in the group. I don't know if Dr. Greg will possibly be willing to move forward with King per se. I think that they could move forward. It's just Dr. Greg is going to have to realize you can't speak to everybody the same way. You got to be a little bit more respectful of how you speak to other people. I think that is something that he just needs to think about. But other than that, y'all, that is our review of Married to Medicine. I think it was another good episode. They have been knocking it off the park the last couple of episodes. So I really, really, truly have been enjoying this season of Married to Medicine. So with that being said, I am going to go ahead and hop up off of here. We should be getting the Real Housewives of Potomac episode today as well. So look out for that coming shortly. But once again, if you are new here, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, share with people, because we want to grow our community here. But with that being said, I hope you enjoyed. Have a good one, everybody. See y'all soon.